We are now joined by the head coach of the U.S. men's national team, Gregg Berhalter. If you'd like to get in a queue to ask a question, you may do so now, and we'll start with opening comments from Gregg.
Thank you, Michael. Another competitive World Cup qualifier match. Fantastic crowd in Columbus, fantastic conditions, field conditions, and weather was optimal for us tonight. What I'd say is that, first of all, it's great to get a shutout, another shutout in World Cup qualifying, which is really important. I was also really pleased with the effort of Anthony Robinson. I thought he did a good job, was busy all night. Weah was very active, stretching their back line all night. And I really liked the contribution of Jesus Ferreira, who set up a number of plays and also had a couple of opportunities for himself. Looking at some things we could have done better, I think we lacked connection in our pressing. There was too often that there was too much space between our lines, and we weren't able to make that next play on the pass when pressure was broken. And I think that the ambition to play forward and get behind them was missing for the 90 minutes. We had it in spurts, but overall, I think we could have done that much better. The big picture of this game is we're still in very good position in World Cup qualifying. The 3 points were vital at home, and we achieved that. So happy. Now it's time to regroup and come up with a plan to attack Canada.
Thanks, Gregg. We'll begin with questions and start with Jacob Myers from the Columbus Dispatch.
Hey, Gregg, thanks for doing this. When you took off Christian in the 64th minute, was that for performance or was that program? And then I just wanted your perspective on, it seemed like he had difficulty at times keeping possession. Wasn't much of a factor in the attack at times too. Did you see any reason as to why that was? Thanks.
So overall, happy with Christian's effort in the game. I think the effectiveness could have been more, as you mentioned, and looking at that moment in the game, looking at where we thought the game was headed, we wanted to get him off and get some fresh legs in. We put Brendan in, a guy who we know can repeat high-speed runs and really is relentless attacking their back line. So we thought it was a sub that was going to give us some help. Regarding Christian, it's just about him finding his top form and really finding ways to get him in front of goal, because that's where he really shines. When he's in front of the penalty box is when he does his best work.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Gregg, you mentioned Jesus Ferreira's performance tonight. Had a couple chances in front of goals, wasn't able to convert. You guys have scored goals in qualifying, 13 goals, second most in the group. 10 of those have come outside of the number 9 position. Is that something you're okay with by design, that you want the wingers and fullbacks getting involved, or is there a concern of trying to find ways to get some goals out of that number 9 position as we move forward in qualifying?
Well, I think as you mentioned, Paul, he had enough chances to score a couple goals. So that's the most important thing. If he didn't have any chances in the game, I would have been concerned. But he did have chances, and I think it's just a matter of him being able to finish those off. Regarding his link-up play, I thought it was excellent. A number of times he was setting players up, as we expected him to do. So overall, although we might try to judge number 9s by their goal production, I still think he had a solid performance.
Next will be Drake Hills from the Tennessean.
Hey, Gregg, I had a quick question just about, you mentioned a little about the combination play, and I wanted to talk about, particularly when Pulisic was on, the combination between Musa, McKinney, and Weah, and also Guest sometimes a little bit on the right-hand side versus the left. I'm curious, from your standpoint, why do you think that was a little more dense as compared to on the left when Pulisic and Musa and Robinson were involved?
Yeah, that's a good observation, and I think it starts with the positioning. It's important to have a winger high on their line, ready to stretch their back line. It gives us space in our attack, and on the right side, we had that. We had Timmy in position the entire time to get behind them. We had Serginho joining, and we had Weston helping out on that side. On the other side of the field, at times, Christian was too low. That meant Anthony was even lower, and it was hard to really get any forward momentum to start producing combinations, especially to stretch them behind. So It wasn't perfect, but I think the goal came from the left side. I also think the second half we changed. We had a lot more success on the left side of the field. So it was, in the end, happy with that we were able to get that left side back on track.
Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hey, Brad. Looking at, I think, 11 of the 13 goals have been in the second half, and the adjustments you've made at halftime have clearly worked. Would you like to see anything different in the first half, looking at the overall arc? Is it being more conservative in the first half before being more aggressive, or are you happy with everything so far on that?
Well, in terms of happiness, I wouldn't say this was our best game. We didn't finish enough of our chances that we had. I mentioned in the opening statement that I didn't think our press was connected as it needed to be. And you could see that we were away from each other for a while, the majority of the group. But regarding the goals coming in the first or second half, we had enough chances in the first half to score goals. So that's what I'm happy with. I think we could have finished off some chances. We could have been up 1-0 or 2-0, and we weren't. When you have an expected goals of 2.5 or something like that, you're doing pretty well in a game. You also have to give El Salvador credit because those guys fought. And I mentioned in the pregame about how they press the ball and how they move forward and get after it. And they did exactly that. So give them credit as well. But overall, we created enough in the first half. We just unfortunately didn't get the score.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Greg, congrats on the win. Just
Thanks.
Curious, Weston's status. He looked like he was limping at the end there. And on that note, I mean, how much squad rotation should we expect for Canada now that this first game's out of the way? Thank you.
We're going to have to assess everyone tomorrow and see where they're at and then make decisions on the lineup for Canada. But regarding Weston, he seemed fine. Maybe he took a bruise or something, but we don't expect it to be anything major. I have spoken to medical and nothing came up.
Next will be Grant Wall.
Hey, Greg, I wanted to ask you about Anthony Robinson. Were you expecting this knack for important goal scoring in this tournament from your left half? And what does he do as a left half to put himself in those positions?
So, Grant, we call our fullbacks our superpower of our team. And we do that because they produce. They give assists and goals. If you look at World Cup qualifying so far, our fullbacks have contributed heavily. Serginho has goal and assists. Anthony Robinson has goals and assists. DeAndre Yedlin has assists. Who else has contributed? But our fullbacks are great for us, and they're a big part of how we play, especially when we're dropping our midfielders lower. They're really important. Regarding Anthony, at Fulham, he's been in great form as well. He's been attacking. We asked him to do something very similar, so he's used to that. He got up and down the field. He got some good crosses in, and he was able to arrive in the penalty box to score goals. We put an emphasis on our fullbacks arriving in the penalty box because we know we have that midfield line that's supporting them and can clean up anything that comes out in the top of the box.
Next will be Sam Stejskal.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Greg. Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Sam.
You mentioned, that there was a lack of connection in midfield. Any concern about that heading into Canada, especially given how the last game went against them with the struggles and build-up against the low block that they played against you guys?
I was referring to the lack of connection in our pressing. I didn't think our midfield line was connected enough to our forward line as we were pressing. So that's something that can improve. I think as we get players closer together in terms of distance-wise, we'll be able to make those passes and maintain those connections offensively. At times in the first half, the distances between our midfielders was too far apart, and the team was disconnected a little bit. We were building with 4 players and 6 players were high, so we made that adjustment at halftime.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald.
Thank you, Michael, and Greg, and congratulations on the win. I wanted to ask about Chris Richards, who has played in a few qualifiers for you now, and any shutout is more than just one player, obviously. But what did you make of him tonight, and so far having a fairly rapid integration into the starting lineup, all things to say?
He was good tonight. I think that his positioning defensively was very good. His build-up play was good, and if I had to pick on one thing, it might have been anticipating balls in front of the attacker and being able to get in front of him. He fouled a couple times, but overall, I've been really impressed with Chris and his development. We've been watching all his games, but particularly his game last week against Dortmund, where he's going up against Holland, and it's not an issue for him. He's able to match him with his strength and his speed, and we've seen a really sharp learning curve from him in this last couple months.
Next will be Ivis Galarcep.
Greg, first, Anthony Robinson scores another goal and shows off that celebration. Are you ready to ban the celebration, or will you take it if he keeps scoring in these big spots? And as far as the second half, the midfield seemed to really step it up. What did you see different from your midfield three of Eunice, Weston, and Tyler? Because it seemed like they took it up a notch in the second half.
We adjusted their positioning. I mentioned about their connection, their spacing in the first half was off. So we adjusted that a little, got them a little bit closer together, got them a little lower, that to connect with the center backs. And then regarding Anthony Robinson, if a guy scores like that and chooses to do that, who am I to ban that? That's an amazing physical feat. Me and you couldn't do that, Ivis. So congratulations to him for even being able to do that. I think it's really impressive. But in all seriousness, Anthony Robinson was the coach's man of the match tonight, just for his relentless attacking and getting that goal. That was really important for our team.
We invite any members of the media to attempt that on their own. Next will be Michael DeCourcy from the Sporting News.
Yes, Greg, obviously the goal is the biggest thing for Anthony, but I noted several times, especially in the second half, where he intervened in important moments. How is he able to be as dangerous as he is at the offensive end and still be as responsible as he is on D?
It's a mindset. He knows that he needs to be relentless on the field. He needs to attack and defend. It's not one or the other. It's both, and he understands that. So he gets forward, and his fitness is good enough to be able to get back. And as I mentioned, when he's forward, hopefully the midfielders are there to create that net that prevents the opponent from getting out, and he can ease his way back. But he was good on both sides of the ball. In the first half, a couple issues on his side with guys getting behind him, but he corrected that, and in the second half he played really well.
We'll take a couple more for Gregg, and I'll also mention that after Gregg, we'll have Anthony Robinson and Tim Weah. Next will be Rachel Krieger.
Thanks for the time. Thanks, Greg, for taking my question. Thank you, Michael. Greg, just kind of wanted to get your take on El Salvador. They're a young team, a budding team. Hugo Perez, a great coach. He said after the game, we didn't win, but there's a lot of growth considering last year, or I'm sorry, a year and a half ago, they came in and lost 6-0, and tonight they lost 1-0. Just wanted to get your take on that. Thanks.
He's done a great job with them. They have a group that they've been working with. They're young. I think we're still probably younger than them by a good margin. But they are a young team, and I have a lot of respect for what Hugo's done with that group. Former national team player, is a guy that we all looked up to, and any soccer player around my age looked up to Hugo Perez. And he's doing a fantastic job with El Salvador. One thing I mentioned before the game is how they were going to compete in this game. And a lot of that has to do with the coach's mentality and the mindset that he creates for the players. So we're pulling for them. We hope they win all 5 of their games. We'd love to see that, and he's done a good job.
Last question for Gregg will go to Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Hey, Greg, I wanted to ask about Matt Turner, a guy who's been in the news a little bit lately, and I feel like it's a little easy to forget that he's only been with you guys for about a year now because he's just played in so many big games. And he's also a guy that, based on his path and everything, probably should have never made it this far. So what is it about him that's allowed him to make it this far? And what have you seen from him in the last year that's allowed him to play in these big games and to have you trust him so wholeheartedly like this?
Well, first of all, I think it's just a great story. And I hope the public's aware of this ascent of Matt Turner, because it's an incredible story. He went to Fairfield College, undrafted out of college, and now he's playing with the national team, and he's headed to Arsenal. It's just an amazing story, and it's all down to him. and his work ethic and his belief in himself and his never give up attitude, it's a great story. And Matt is a great guy, great teammate, and we're lucky to have him. But tonight was an example where he did everything he had to do. He was calm in all situations, wasn't tested much, but was there when we needed him. And he looked like a player that's going to Arsenal for sure.
Matt also in his first year, one of the 2021 BioSteel Male Athlete of the Year nominees. Thank you very much, Gregg. We'll be right back with Anthony Robinson.
Thank you.
Is it similar to what we did last time?
We are joined by defender and Budweiser Man of the Match, Anthony Robinson. We will start with questions and begin with Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
Anthony, congratulations on the goal and the victory. Understanding there's still 5 games left, and we know that you guys concentrate on one at a time. That said, is there a sense now that feel that this is getting closer, that the ball is within reach, especially after another victory tonight?
I mean, we're definitely one step closer. Like you said, game at a time. We're really happy to get the win. This is what we've been preparing for. It wasn't the prettiest game. There was times when we played good football, times when we just had to kind of dig it out, chances that we didn't put away, but we got the win. We're one step closer to our goal of qualifying for the World Cup. So, we're all delighted.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald.
Thank you, Michael, and congratulations on the goal of the win. It plays a little bit off Steve's question, I suppose, about the importance of patience in a game like this tonight, waiting for the first goal, and in a campaign overall, waiting to pile up all of the results needed, to qualify for a World Cup. How important is that? Can you take us a little bit through the mental side of things tonight? Thanks.
Yeah, well, we knew, obviously, we're coming off the back of everyone's at different stages. Some lads are in pre-season, some lads have been had a heavy fixture period, myself included. And it's our first international game since the last window, so it was never going to be, we turn up with the short time that we've had to prepare and just play an amazing game of football and win 6-0. It was always going to be a tough, tight affair. They made it difficult for us. They were aggressive. They sat tight. The referee's decisions didn't help us at times, didn't help them at times too, to be fair. But, we kept patient. We kept doing what was working and eventually got the goal, thankfully. And we've seen it out as well. They put a bit of pressure on towards the end. We had to stay strong, stay resilient to keep a clean sheet. And that's massive for us going forward. They're the games we have to keep winning if we want to qualify.
Next will be Ron Blum from the Associated Press.
Hey, Anthony, when you look at your goal celebration, how often do you practice those backflips, and what kind of reaction do you get to them from teammates and family and friends?
I don't practice backflips anymore. It's just one of them muscle memory things. I've been doing it since I was a kid, so I just know I can do it. And, the specific part of the celebration where it kind of looked like I was injured for a minute, that was just a kind of homage to something that happened a few years ago, playing a friendly for Everton in Africa, sorry. My friend's been on me for weeks to do that celebration, so I had to pull it out. Didn't tell anyone, so there was a few people scared, but, it's all part of the fun of enjoying the game for me.
We'll be happy to share the YouTube video of the celebration that Anthony was paying homage to earlier tonight. Next will be Grant Wall.
Anthony, congratulations on the goal. Gregg Berhalter just told us that fullbacks are your superpower as a team, and he talked about how you and Serginho and DeAndre have all provided goals and assists during this qualification tournament. What has Gregg and the coaching staff explained to you about what they want from a fullback in this system?
Well, it can vary game by game. Today, Gregg said, he wanted me to be really positive and attacking, start high if Christian was inside, running behind a lot, threaten their back line, and get involved with crosses, get to the back post when it's coming in from the other side, which, that's exactly what my goal was. So credit to Gregg for that being a bit of strategy. And he's always said the fullbacks are really important, and we see ourselves as key parts of the team that we want to get involved with the goals and assists, and luckily we have been doing that, and we'll keep going. Serginho nearly had another assist tonight. It was very close. I could have had a couple more goals potentially, but everyone, there was a lot of chances that got missed. I think we could have done a lot of things better tonight, but the most important thing is 3 points and to move on to Canada.
Next will be Claudio Villalobos.
Thank you, Michael. Anthony, we all give respect for Salvador. Your next game against Canada is probably going to be tougher for sure. When you look at tonight's game, taking into account your performance and the team performance overall, is it a particular that you will say that you guys need to improve in order to get another victory against Canada?
I think it's just tidying a few things up. I mean, there was times where we played really nice football, had good combinations, but at other times, we were rather sloppy, picking the wrong passes, dribbling too much, just making general mistakes. But it's not going to be perfect when you've only had this short amount of time to prepare for games. So going forward against Canada now, they're going to be in the same situation as us. We're all going to have to try and rest and recover and get ready for that game. And it's probably going to come down to who wants it more, which is a case of most of these games. So going into the Canada game, I think we just need to tidy up a little bit in certain areas, but keep doing what we've been doing good. Be a bit more aggressive and on the front foot. And, we're going to really try and take it to them. We don't care that it's away from home. We need the win more than them. So.
Next will be Emily Olsen from USA Today.
Thanks, Michael. Anthony, this is, I think, the fourth or fifth game that's taken to the second half for this team, really, to score the goals to get into the game. I'm curious, at halftime, is there a particular person that speaks up? What are the vibes? Is it a calmness? Not just this game, but some of the previous games where it's taken that second half to get the goal.
A lot of lads speak up. You've got Christian, Weston, Tyler, who are, just like saying the things that we were all thinking. We need to be more urgent. We need to be more aggressive, more demanding of each other, and tidy up on the ball, change things around. But going into half-time at 0-0, it's all to play for, and we aren't defeated. We know going into the game that, it's not going to be won in the first minute. It's going to take 95 minutes each game. Thankfully, second half performance was a lot better than the first half, and we managed to get the win. So, cool heads at half-time, but everyone who feels they have to voice an opinion speaks their mind, and we all take it on board.
We'll go to Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks so much, Michael. Congrats, Anthony. Obviously, you're going up to Canada, like you said, wanting to get a win, but you're going to be facing a team with a striker, Jonathan David, scored again tonight, scoring a lot overseas in Europe. Tejan Buchanan also created a goal tonight. For you, when you're matching up against players like that, what's your mindset, and how much do you have to balance that with your instinct to want to attack and go forward when you're playing against a winger like Tejan Buchanan, who equally is going to be pushing forward a lot?
I think it's going to depend on how we set up to play the game. We're obviously going to take their strengths and weaknesses into account. If Gregg feels that that's a game that I need to sit back a little more and help the back line out, then that's something I'm going to have to do. I'm a very competitive player. I back myself going up against anyone. So that's the reason playing international football is so great. You get to play against top elite players. So I embrace that challenge. I look forward to whoever I might come up against, and I back myself to play well.
Next will be Andrew Jones from Spotify.
Hey, Rod. Congrats on the goal tonight. Thank you, Michael, for the call there. When you were mentioning your celebration after you did your backflip and you had the little gate walk that you made there, and Christian was laughing and a few other players, can you talk about that whole walk that you made there, as well as the fact that you have Jedi as your Instagram name part of it? Can you explain the full background of you having Jedi on there, besides, of course, Star Wars, and what made you want to do that?
The Jedi thing and the backflip thing, they're completely separate. I've been called Jedi since I was 5. That's purely because when I was really young, I was a big Star Wars fan. Used to love getting the costumes, the games, dressing up, watching the movies. That's died down a little bit now, but it's just, again, second nature to me. Ever since I was that age, I've been called Jedi. I've introduced myself to people as Jedi, school teachers, new friends. So It's just a part of me. That's why it's on my Instagram and Twitter. It's, I feel weird being called Anthony. I prefer being called Jedi, so.
Next will be Ryan Tomlich from Goal.com.
Hey, Anthony, look, you've only been with the national team a few years, but it feels like you've had highs and lows and moments where you're in and moments when you're out, and there have been those roller coaster moments for you. But now you look at where you are and the way you're playing, and it seems like you've really hit a turning point where you're comfortable and confident and you're making things happen. Was there a point for you where things just feel like they sort of clicked? And what's it feel like to kind of be in this moment where you can play this free and this confident and make the impact that you have?
I can't really think of a point where it just clicked. I mean, like you said, I've been dealing with highs and lows with the national team. I've been dealing with highs and lows in football ever since I first signed a scholarship with Everton at 15, 16 years old. Whether it's injuries, being left out of the team, things like that. All players have to deal with highs and lows at some point, and I feel like I'm someone who bounces back from low points. I try to keep the best mentality that I can. So yeah, I don't think back to a specific point where it sort of set in. I'm just feel like, I'm understanding the system a bit more. I feel like Gregg has seen, the impact that I can bring to the team when I'm playing well. I definitely don't take it for granted that I'm just in the team now. We've got such a talented squad. We've got good depth. So, at any moment, if I'm not doing my job, I'm going to be out of the team. So I just need to try and keep performing, keep raising my levels every game.
Next will be David Melandra.
Hey, can you just take it through the play on the goal you scored and talk about how big of a moment that was, especially how late in the game the goal was?
Yeah, so obviously, I was told, be positive, try and get in the box, try and threaten him behind, make runs in behind. So I just kept trying to find myself in good positions, especially when Serginho was high or it was out in a wide right position to get on the back post and get in the box for crosses. And it was very similar to my goal against Honduras. It sort of came across the box. It's not been picked up well by the defenders. They've sort of not read, the deflections and headers and stuff. So it's just down to, being lucky to have put myself in a good position. And then I just tried to keep my head down, put the ball far corner, and thankfully it went in. And I was over the moon. It's an unreal feeling. It's the best feeling in football to score goals.
Last question for Jedi comes from Drake Hills.
Yeah, Jedi, I just wanted to touch on something that Gregg said earlier, just about how through the progression of the game, especially in the beginning, that you weren't able to advance much because Christian wasn't advancing much in terms of when you guys had possession and trying to get forward. Obviously, you were able to in getting the goal, and then of course setting up chances for Jesus and Tim on the back end. I'm curious to know tactically how much of your movement forward is just something that's innate for you, something that you do at Fulham as well, and how much of that is within the U.S. system?
Yeah, I think I've been given the freedom to attack a bit more. Obviously, if we set up in a good shape, then we've got our midfielders. The defender on the opposite side has come round, and there's a lot of cover, so people are filling in for me. So I just get to go forward, and it takes me back to when I was younger and I was a winger or striker. Wanting to get forward, and even as a fullback now, I'm still a positive player. I still want to attack all the time when possible. So the fact that I've got that freedom to sort of threaten behind, get in good positions, and be involved in the attack, it's definitely helps my game, and I feel like I can keep contributing to the team if I keep having to do that.
Thank you very much, Jedi. We will be right back with Tim Weah. If you'd like to get in a queue to ask a question of Tim, you should do so now.
Thanks, everyone.
And we are back with U.S. men's national team forward Tim Weah. We'll begin with questions, and we will start with Michael DeCourcy from Sporting News.
Tim, I wondered, you guys had a lot of chances you came close on and finally broke through. I wonder if you could describe what you saw and what your involvement was as Anthony broke the deadlock.
In the first half, I feel like we had a lot of opportunities to finish and score, but sometimes in football, it doesn't work out the way you want it to. And I feel like we started a bit slow, but second half we got back out there, got the rhythm going, and started to feel more like ourselves. And just right before that action, Weston played me a ball over the top. I let it drop under the defender's legs and took it in, tried to shoot for myself. Goalkeeper saved it. Then it went back out to Jesus, and Anthony was at the right spot at the right time, and he was clutch, and he finished it off. So yeah, really happy about that.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, Tim. Thanks for
Hi.
your time.
Thank you.
This game's done. You won it. Now everything turns to Canada.
Mhm.
Your thoughts on that matchup for the team and you personally? How comfortable are you playing on turf? It's probably been a while since you did that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I'm ready to adapt. With CONCACAF, you have to adapt to any situation, and I think the group is ready. We have to take the positives from this game, work on it in training, and just get ready for the Canada game. It's going to be a big match.
Next will be Charles Bohm from MLSsoccer.com.
Tim, congrats on the result. I
Thank
want to
you.
ask you about working with Jesus up top. He's a little bit different profile from Ricardo
Mhm.
Pepi. How was the preparation like, and what was your thoughts on kind of the movements and the combination between spacing?
Yeah, so the whole week we've been training together, and it was great. I feel like whoever's on the pitch, we execute properly, and Jesus was wonderful tonight. And I just feel like as a group we're doing well, and whoever the coach puts on the field, whether it's me, whether it's Brendan, whether it's Jesus, Pepe, I feel like we all work really well together up top, and it's a very nice thing to see. So yeah, we just have to continue working hard and continue having that chemistry. So yeah.
We'll go to Ivis Galarsep from SBI Soccer.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
One of the themes that's kind of been developing through qualifying is first half struggles, second half
Mhm.
turnarounds, and you get really kind of pouring it on in the second half. How much of a concern is it that the first half the goals are tough to come by? Are you guys gaining confidence in these situations now, going into half times? And a second one on Anthony Robinson and his just growth as a
Mhm.
player. What does it do for you guys having a threat at left back like him across from Serginho Dest?
Yes. So first of all, I feel like it was a nice little relaunch game to get back in the rhythm. Obviously, we had so many chances to score, but we didn't end up executing, and we have to be better next game. But I feel like with this team, anyone can score, and that's a plus that we have. And I'm so happy for Anthony, and we just have to keep it up, keep working hard, and get back into training and focus on the next game and execute at the right times.
We'll go to Jacob Myers from the Columbus Dispatch.
Thanks, Michael. Tim, just in general, how did you feel the attack kind of changed in the second half from the first half? What just, I guess, clicked a little bit better in that second 45?
Yeah, so first half I feel like we were all a bit slow, lacked a bit of intensity. I feel like El Salvador came out a bit harder than us, and that should never happen. And I feel like second half we realized what we weren't doing right and came back out and applied pressure, and we ended up benefiting from it. Anthony getting the goal, and I feel like as a group we just have to come out stronger. But overall, I feel like the most important was fighting out and getting those 3 points. So we're happy about it, and we just have to come out better next time.
We'll go to Emily Olson from USA Today.
Hey Tim, thanks for the time. Don't want to move on too quickly, but you're out here performing well. I don't know if you've been able to see it, but Jonathan David is just out here chipping goalkeepers scoring for Canada. You're obviously familiar with him. Going into this matchup, how much is that familiarity a benefit, and what's the banter been like?
That's my guy. We always go at it. But most importantly, I love watching him succeed. Great guy, one of my best friends on the team, and I wish nothing but success for him. Seeing what he's doing has really been great, and it's pushed me to work even harder. And I think having that brotherhood, we really like to compete a lot. So we've been waiting for this game the whole year. We've been talking about it. We've been joking about who's gonna win, who's gonna score. So good vibes, and I feel like both teams have the firepower, and we just have to, execute the right way. I feel like we have what it takes to get the job done, and we're focused on that game now, and hopefully we can execute.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thank you, Michael, and thanks again, Tim, for the time. You know, Dan admittedly looks a little forward to the next game, but you're gonna go from one of a number of games that you guys play against a team that is probably a little more defensive, a little more of a low block, to a team that is going to be top of the standings, coming home to play the team probably wants to beat more than any other, and turn the game into a track meet if you can, given, you know, the players that are gonna be on the field. How much of a transition of style, of atmosphere, of any way you want to take, do you think this is going to be on a short turnaround, and how do you prepare for it?
So yeah, going into the Canada game, you know, we have to go into this game really humble and with the right work ethic. You know, Canada has a lot of big hitters. We have a lot of big hitters too. So I think we just have to go in with the mindset that, you know, we have to fight it out and we have to find a way to get a result. And I feel like it's gonna be a great game to watch. And you know, coach has everything that we need to prepare for the Canada game, and we just have to go into training, turn it around, recover, get into training, work on what we have to work on, fix some things, and yeah, I feel like we'll be ready for the game. But it's gonna be a nice game to watch for sure.
We'll go to Kyle Bond from Sporting News.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Tim. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
You know, when you guys spend months at a time at a club and then can get called into the national team, is it difficult, you know, to build a chemistry like you seem to have tonight with Serginho Dest on that side? You know, this game is very much about chemistry, whether it's in the midfield, on the flanks, whatever. Just talk about that struggle, or maybe it's not a struggle for you guys to come in after a couple of months and really hit the ground running with the national team.
Oh man, that's one thing I always say about this group is the chemistry is always on 100. I've been playing with Serginho for years, since we were 14, 15. So you know, I know his tendencies. I know when he's gonna play me. I know when he's gonna do his thing. And yeah, I feel like that connection's great, and that goes for everyone else on the pitch. I feel like we all connect really well. And being that we're, you know, at different clubs in Europe, you know, some of us play, some of us don't. So you know, it's just about getting back into camp and getting that rhythm. And you know, this was a good game to, you know, feel everything out and get that rhythm again. And hopefully next game we can give the supporters even better. And yeah, just I'm ready to get back out there.
We'll take two more questions for Tim and start with Claudio Villalobos.
Thank you, Michael. Tim, one could argue that you're one of the most improved players in the team, especially since you started becoming one of the starters mainly. I'm curious about how much the Gregg's tactical idea has helped you become that kind of a dangerous player that you're now on the national team.
Yeah, Coach Gregg, you know, huge thank you to Coach Gregg and the coaching staff. The way we play here is really beneficial for me, because the one thing I love to do is make runs in behind, and I feel like our game really provides that. And you know, just the group has been amazing. You know, coming back and being with the boys, so many ups and downs in this year. It really is a huge confidence boost, and every time I go out there, I want to give 100%. And you know, I try to do that. Some days it might not work, some days it will, but you know, the most important is that, you know, I'm out there with my family and enjoying. And I'm starting to feel better, you know. I've been improving, and I just hope that, you know, God allows me to improve and keep improving. And, you know, I have so much more to give, and, you know, I just can't wait to see what the future has in store for me.
Our last question comes from Andrew Jones from Spotify.
Hey, Prince of Weah, congratulations on that great win, man.
Thank you.
And I just wanted to ask about A-Rob's celebration after he did the backflip, and then he did the little gap walk right there. I saw you and Christian laughing about that. Can you talk about that celebration that he did there?
Man, that celebration always hypes us up. A-Rob has been excellent for us this whole, in every window. You know, he's a huge part of the team, and we love him and cherish him, and I'm glad he's getting the glory tonight. He really deserves it, and he kind of scared me because I thought he pulled his hammy, but you know, it worked out in the end, and he played a wonderful game. Man of the match for sure, truly deserved. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the group, and we just have to, you know, continue. And you know, I'm happy with how everything's going. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Just one final note. The U.S. team will depart Columbus tomorrow evening for Hamilton, Ontario. Our next media availability will be Saturday afternoon. We'll be sharing the details shortly. Thanks again, and have a good evening.
Thank you. Ooh.